Hey guys, today we're doing another deck building challenge. So today's goal is to build a deck that utilizes two different archetypes, and specifically, we want both archetypes to specialize in a different type of summoning. So for example, if we mix Sword Soul with something, we're going to mix it with maybe, for example, let's say Time Thief. And that is because Time Thief has technically anti-synergy with Sword Soul, and our goal would be to mix two decks like that. Although, like, not necessarily both of them, right? Or we could also go with this combination: Synchro Fusion, Fusion Xyz, and Link is honestly just probably too easy. So we're just personally, I'm not going to touch Link, but if you're having trouble, feel free to maybe try Link summoning a bit. And our goal is going to be, well, using a different archetype. So let's see, two different archetypes. Well, for starters, I want an archetype that I personally find enjoyable. But I don't want to do something I've done too much with already. So let's do something kind of new, I guess. So let's go with Ultra. And let's take a look at what I have here. So we have the full armored Dark Knight Lancer here. Interesting. Does this show related cards? XYZ Armor Torpedo. And then all these guys. If we search Armored for a second, actually, let's exit out of there and search Armored. Using a rank 3 or 4. And this one allows you to use a rank 5 Water Xyz monster. Okay. Nothing super interesting here. I mean, we could play that, right? But it doesn't immediately solve the issue of what archetypes we're going to be playing. So, let's see. Magnites are Link, so we're not doing that. But technically we could use them as a really crappy rank 8 engine. So, that's not completely off the table. Just noticed I have an extra copy of Nimlaria. Anyway, moving on. So, the easiest thing we could do is probably to just take Punk. If we take Punk, Punk is mostly synchro, so it wouldn't be too hard to work in some kind of rank 3 strategy. Alongside that, that would be pretty manageable. I think so, at least. So I actually haven't built that much with Time Thief, so let's actually try Time Thief. So we're going to grab, specifically I want to grab Redoer. Let's grab 2, just to be safe. Then we'll grab Time Thief Winder, 3 Regulator. We'll need at least 1 adjuster. I'm not sure how many adjusters you want to play, because the effect of adjuster, you can only use 1 Time Thief adjuster effect per turn and only once that turn. So, a little bit awkward. How do we even utilize this card? I honestly have no idea. Maybe with this card, target 1 Time Thief monster in your graveyard, special summon that monster, and then we use this effect to use the Foolish Burial effect, I guess. And then that's how we send Time Thief Flyback, I guess. That's how this is supposed to work. Attach 1 quick effect, you and target 1 other XYZ monster you control. Attach 1 Time Thief card from your deck to it as material. Wait, this is just something you can just do forever? But you have no way to recycle Time Thief cards into the deck, right? I guess that kind of sucks, but I never noticed. This actually generically attaches to any XYZ monster you control. Huh. If Rango Miniad was legal, you're telling me I could just use Perpetua to perpetually annoy my opponent forever. Well, not literally forever, because I still need Time Thief cards in my main deck, but damn. Okay. And the card we can attach can just be retrograde anyways. So not 100% sure. Would the play be to summon like Temporal then maybe? Not Temporal. Chrono Quarter, maybe? Well, that's just me getting distracted a bit. So let's grab one copy of Retrograde, and then we'll figure out what these cards do exactly. If a face-up XYZ monster you control leaves the field by card effect, so essentially if I activate Redoer effect to banish itself, if this is in the graveyard, it will special summon itself, and then this card detaches a material, and then allows me to special summon it. So if we look at the sequence, or like all this, it's a little bit weird. And then we also have Time Thief Temporal effect. So that's annoying, but I think the play is to special summon. Specifically, we want to summon a Winder and an Adjuster off of Regulator. So if we do that, we can do Winder effect to add, and then Adjuster effect to send, and then we can send Temper Wall, I think. Then Temper Wall effect in the graveyard. Target a Time Thief monster I control. Return that monster to the hand. We can return Winder. Winder says you can only use each effect of Time Thief Winder once returned, so we could technically do the special summon effect and the search effect. So now the thing I mostly care about is getting, for example, whatever I search here, maybe it's a bezel ship. If it is a bezel ship, I would want to be able to put it into the graveyard somehow. But if we just grab Retrograde, that will be an Omni Negate with our Redoer. And we have a Time Thief Adjuster then. Does this get us anywhere? I guess we can summon Winder afterwards. And we have an extra level 4 monster on the field. If we were to just have Bezel Ship, we can't really get this into the graveyard, right? Yeah, no. This as well. Which is pretty annoying. Is there something else we can make instead? I don't really think so, unfortunately. What does Time Thief Double Barrel do? If we detach monster, this card just gains attack. Negate the effects of one effect monster on the field until the end of this turn. This does not target noticeably. Does Redoer target? Wait, this doesn't target? Place one face-up card your opponent controls on the top of the deck. Damn. That's a little bit stronger than I remember it being, but okay. We'll probably try to play Flyback at least. And this is only from your opponent's graveyard, sadly. So we'll also play one Perpetua. Maybe it comes up and we'll just figure out if the rest of these are playable. Special summon a Time Thief monster from your hand during your main phase. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Time Thief XYZ monster you control. Attach 3 Time Thief cards of different types from your graveyard to that monster's material. Pretty mech card. Time Thief Hack. During the turn, their special summoned XYZ monsters you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So this doesn't have that much synergy. because specifically with Time Thief Redoer does not special summon itself back. It banishes this card until the end phase, and then during the end phase, it does not special summon back. It just returns to the field, which is different and does not trigger anything that would say otherwise. And therefore, if we were to activate Redoer and then your opponent were to like flip over Summon Limit or something, uh, Redoer would still come back, right? Or if your opponent activated something else that stopped you from special summoning, Redoer still comes back. Okay? So this doesn't banish itself, right? Yeah, it doesn't. And this one triggers specifically when your opponent activates a card or effect. Oh, and then this is also technically a negate, right? No, it's not. But cannot declare an attack nor activate its effects this turn. So it prevents activation but does not negate the effect of the monster you take. Okay, I guess. I have the double barrel, huh? Interesting effects. I guess we'll throw it in for fun. And then this attaches Time Thief card from your deck, specifically. So if we fly back onto this, that'd be the only way we can get a spell onto this, but I guess that's fine. What is the effect of flyback? Target one Time Thief XYZ monster you control, attach one Time Thief card from your hand or deck to it as material. You banish this card from your graveyard. Then target one Time Thief XYZ monster you control. Does this have a graveyard effect? No. And it doesn't recycle either. If this actually, like, if this deck actually recycled, I think that would help it out a little bit more, but whatever. I don't really see any point in running too many more of these cards here. But yeah, let's throw in a Zeus and call it a day. So this is essentially the XYZ Time Thief portion of our deck complete. And now we'll grab, after we put in some staples, just for the time being, we'll work at this all out later. But alright, we do this. Now we want some different type, well, archetype, and we're essentially locking ourselves out of XYZ here, so it cannot be an XYZ deck, and it needs to be just something else in general. So what can we play with Time Thief? So the notable quirks of Time Thief. Specifically, we want Regulator because of if you control no other monsters, you attribute this card special summon 2 Time Thief monsters with different names from your deck in defense position, except for Time Thief Regulator. When an XYZ monster you control is destroyed by battle while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. So the primary effect that we care about is the special summon 2 Time Thief effect. So typically you'll have to normal summon Time Thief Regulator, and we'll also need to control no other monsters for this. So then we'll tribute this and it'll summon from our deck probably. I think the best ones to do are Winder and Adjuster. But technically it's not that bad for us to do maybe, for example, Bezel Ship and then Winder. That is probably also doable. And if we were to play it a bit differently, fusion summoning is not out of the question here. So let's say we summon Winder, Adjuster, and then we add Bezel Ship, special summon back Winder afterwards. We can then like fusion summon using Bezel Ship as material, just for example. And then when we would do so, that will send Bezel Ship, hopefully to the graveyard, and then we can special summon Bezel Ship by detaching from our XYZ monster that we summon, whatever it is. Speaking of which, we don't actually just have to special summon Redoer, there are other options as well. But notably, instead of Bezel Ship, we could just send Chrono Quarter to the graveyard and then trigger Redoer to not have to detach, and then that allows us to XYZ summon with Chrono Quarter and Winder, and then that would allow us to do stuff and things. Notably, though, the effect on Redoer, this effect here is hard once per turn. But this effect here to attach to your opponent's card is soft once per turn. So, interestingly enough, we could make 2 Time Thief Redoers. Would it be worth it necessarily? I don't know. Kinda wish I had a Royal Redoer for this. Would make me feel like 1% better, but oh well. Alright, so if we're looking for like the synergy play, I think that one is not too bad, but we also have the uh, idea of simply just grabbing like a flyback. You can only use one Time Thief flyback effect per turn and only once that turn. Wow, why didn't you say that before? That's annoying. I guess we'll throw in maybe a copy of Startup. A spell, a trap, a monster. Does it include this card? What's this say exactly? Banish this card. Uh, what? Wait a second. Spelling. Hold up. Are these the only 2 spells we have? Target 1 face of XYZ monster you control. Until the end of this turn, it gains 300 attack for each material currently attached to it. And it can attack directly, so if we have 3, that would just be 900. They cannot be targeted as well. Yeah, that effect seems pretty useless, honestly. One Time Thief Startup is probably fine, though, or we care too. Just for the graveyard effect if we care about it. If we don't care, we would probably just run 1 Startup. I guess we can technically also special summon Regulator this way if we open it. So, that's something. But that's pretty specific. Is this card mostly for special summoning Adjuster then? I guess that kind of makes sense. If we want to special summon Adjuster, then we can do a little bit more with our XYZ stuff. Well, yeah, that's me getting distracted a bit, but just to help us out a bit, I guess we should also grab a copy of Shade Brigandine, just because it's good with Time Thief. And then, alright, still have to consider the other archetype. So ideally, we want something that we can somewhat play uh, without the normal summon. But it would also be helpful if we could XYZ summon with that other deck, if necessary. So something that plays with same level. It doesn't need to be like level 4 necessarily either though, because we just want maybe to be able to trigger like Bezel Ship perhaps, or like Time Thief Winder effect. There are like archetypes that can XYZ summon, but that is not like necessarily their primary focus. So let's say, for example, Vanquish Soul, right? You can rank 4 spam pretty hard in that, but it's not inherently a deck that really plays around being rank 4 or making rank 4s. I guess you can kind of use like the Zodiacs for rank 4 plays. Might put those in later. We'll see. And scrolling through. what do we got? I mean, I kind of want to do punk here because it makes sense to do punk. If we do punk, there are actually certain advantages, notably with like the ability to go into rank 3. And then we could like, since we have a lot of extra deck space, we could do like Ghost Line, go Alucard, and then do synchro stuff with the punks. And that kind of accomplishes our goal here, and it makes a pretty decent deck, but doesn't feel creative enough, and that's what I'm really focusing on today. Aside from that, I mean, honestly, Virtual World doesn't sound like completely awful. It sounds only somewhat playable, but it's whatever. So we have to decide between probably Synchro or Fusion here. So Synchro or Fusion. I think Synchro is easier to work with. So that's probably the play. So now it's just what Synchro deck I want to go into from this point. So there is kind of the idea of maybe like doing Blackwing, but Blackwing is kind of hard to work with. This only says Time Thief, right? Target one Time Thief monster. Okay, yeah. So I guess the play here is probably that we should go punk. Like, if we're thinking logically, no reason to go anything other than punk, but let's dig a little deeper. See what we got here. Altergeist is a link deck, so we're going to avoid that. Synchron and all that stuff, probably not going to work out here. Dino is kind of like XYZ Link. A little bit of Synchro, but I wouldn't call that enough for me to go into that, personally. Like, my gut feeling is definitely shouting to go punk with this, for sure. But, anything else we can do here? Anything at all? Any kind of synergy. Well, I guess the primary issue is needing our normal summon for the regulator. That's probably a somewhat big deal. I don't really know if there's a way to like search regulator with something in a reasonable way because we still need an empty field for it. So that's a little bit miserable. But we do really want playable hands. Blackwing, I was kind of thinking about Blackwing. There are like some things we can do. Let's just like, can we really make this work? Redoer has enough stat line for us to actually special summon a copy of Sharnga from our hand. And then we can go Synchro 6. And then if we go Borea Storm, what do we summon or send off of Borea Storm here in this case? We can send like Shamal, I guess, right? So that idea is possible. But if we want to play like Simoon also has this. If you control no monsters and have this card in your hand, you can banish one other Blackwing monster from your hand. So this kind of works if we just specifically grab only retrograde, and then we just remove Redoer from the field. that kind of works, right? Then I guess that's fine. But the question here is, can we do better? Well, I guess this is the play. Yeah, we're going to mix it with tier limit. So a lot of decent reasoning behind this, and it makes sense. So notably, the first thing that you guys might notice is not all of the tier limit cards need to be special summoned or normal summoned. They can be special summoned as well. So how do we? The most important thing is, how do we summon like Rhino? That's probably the thing we have to worry about the most. So we can just accomplish that pretty easily with Grief, I think. So just with that should work. So let's just put in 3 copies of Scream for the timing. 1 copy of Meta Noise. No point in doing Perlegia, right? Send by card effect. Send 1 level 4 lower Aqua monster from your deck to the graveyard. If you send a non-tier limit monster, cannot activate cards or effects of cards with the same name as that sent card. Doesn't seem too useful. And then we do Triple Grave. So our primary way to trigger will probably be Grieve. If we were to open specifically Time Thief Regulator and Rhino Heart, the play is pretty simple, I guess. We can try for Ugaris. That's one option. And that'll probably get us where we need to be. And logically, we can just put in some shufflers now. So we can put in Mudora Keldo. And this should somewhat work. But because of these adjustments, I think we have to actually remove Shadebrig, because I'm not so confident about being able to resolve it. But we're looking at 43 cards, which should be alright. We could move it up to 46 if we throw in like Gamma and stuff. But we also want more access to our copy of Rhino, so we'll go Rhoda. And then let's do this while we're here. Because this synergizes with the rest of the extra deck, we'll go grab full armored XYZ here. And then I think we want XYZ Armor Fortress specifically. And I need to check the Armored XZ's cards now. We have Armored XZ. Target 1 face-up monster you control and 1 XYZ monster in your graveyard. Equip that monster from your graveyard to that monster on the field as an equipped spell with these effects. Change the equipped monster's attack to this card's attack. The equipped monster's gains this card's attribute at the end of the damage step. If the equipped monster attack, you can send this card to the graveyard. That attacking monster can make a second attack in a row. Is that effect that useful? Pretty iffy. Anything else? This doesn't need to detach anything, right? Never, right? Yeah, it never detaches material. Never have to worry about that. So then, Armored XZs. It has to be an XZ's monster in our graveyard. And then we can equip it to any monster. It says change the equipped monster's attack to this card's attack, so it doesn't gain attack. It changes attribute. Does this even help at all with anything? Bro, okay. And this specifically needs to add different names. But doesn't just need to add armored cards, does it? Alright, never mind. Armored XZs. So, Generation Force is showing up for some reason. Doesn't really help. Armored XZs. Full Armored XZs. So this card's kind of trash. Just straight up. So, what we probably will just only play the one then. Cool. Or maybe we can throw in 2 copies of full armored Xyz, and that might be fine. Yeah, I guess you do if we need to make this, right? Rank 5 or 6, yeah. We'll probably have to detach off of this, right? Unless we have something else that can rank up on top of these guys, which I don't think exists. Might as well check out Crystal Regna 0. I think it mentions some stuff. Crystal 0. Nope. What was the other one? Using 1 rank 5 water XYZ monster you control. So this cannot be used as material for an XYZ summon while it has material, so we can't really do that. So pointless. Okay. What effect does this have? Negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. Okay. So that's probably fine. Now, just for funsies, I guess we'll throw in Muckraker. So that is just to bring back Lightheart, if this ever comes up. Like, could come up, could also just never come up. Here goes to Pelia. And yeah, that's probably about all we need in terms of that stuff. Next is just probably more XZ stuff that we can mess around with. That's probably the ideal. If I were to be thinking about something I might want to make here, I'd probably be thinking of this card. Let's see if I can remember the name properly. I believe it was uh, something like this, maybe? Gusto Emerald. Look at 3 monsters in your graveyard, shuffle all 3 into the deck, then draw 1 card. Target 1 non-effect monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. So we definitely don't run one of those, but this does allow us to recycle a little bit, so since we have the deck space, that's not that bad. And then Tornado Dragon, epic. So hands should be all right. So here we have Time Thief Winder, we have Deer Lament, Rhino Heart. So the idea here is if we don't open Regulator, we're going to start with Rhino, and we're going to hopefully mill like Temper Wall, or we can mill Chrono Quarter or something like this, and that will allow us to extend for further plays, right? So if we were to let's say normal summon Rhino here, send Heaviness, go kick Killos, do some milling, mill. Oh wait, I forgot a tier name. Oh, that's an oopsies from me, dog, but whatever. We mill all of these. Flyback is useful. Adjuster, not so useful. And then we would mill a few more. Regulator. Regulator has a graveyard effect, actually. If an XYZ monster we control is destroyed by battle, we can special summon Regulator. So we can crash an XYZ monster ourselves if we actually need to, but whatever. So all of these are here. Doesn't super matter, but if we specifically have the ability to go into rank 4, like let's say Redoer. Redoer is nice if we have like Sheeran plus Rhino to make our copy of Redoer. We can detach some stuff with like Winder and whatnot. So let's say here in an ideal world, we're able to get Sheeran and Rhino onto the field together. Then we can Sheeran effect trigger to make Kick Kalos using Rhino we put in graveyard. And then we can also make a second rank 4. So in this case, it would probably be Dugaris, which we will use one of its effects. Doesn't super matter which one. We could use the special summon one. to special summon back Winder to add the Omni, or we could do the effect to draw 2, discard 1, whatever. That is fine as well. This sends technically for effect, so that would trigger a tier limit effect as well. So there is the synergy. Sometimes tier limit can be used to make rank 4s. Aside from that, we could technically also just, if we needed another body, I guess we could also grab Adjuster. So like, imagine normal summon Temp Thief Winder, grab Adjuster is not that great. I guess we would probably still grab our copy of Retrograde. So yeah, maybe we need a better hand. Here, this hand is fine. We can just send the Medora here, special summon the Shirin. Then we can Rhino effect to send. This specifically has to send a tier limits card, right? Tier limit monster, yeah. So it's fine, it doesn't super matter. So what we would probably send here if we were playing it is Tier Cash, and then we'll just hope we mill the Happiness, I guess. Except for that, we're mostly fine because we're just going to grab Celiac. And here's the tier limit Time Thief, I guess. So the idea with that last hand is probably just to do that, and we can probably work out everything else later. So we're looking at several monster negates, interactions with Redoer, kinda RNG, but you know, it is what it is. And then of course we have Retrograde. Retrograde specifically attaches the card we negate to our monster. So that's just extra fun, I guess. And I don't know. Actually, wait a second. What does Sprint say? This is kind of funny, but this card is link summoned. But where's the other effect? You can detach one material from any XYZ monster you control, then target one monster on the field, return it to the hand. Kinda funny, but we aren't really playing for that right now. If we were to play for it, I guess we'd probably remove Emerald, I guess, and then remove Muckraker. Then we'd use 2 different Link 2s. Because we need a Link 2 to make Sprint with, and then that allows us to trigger Redoer, but we don't have a good send off of or for Sprint. But yeah, that's a funny idea. So yeah, this is my build, and feel free to show me like in the Discord, I guess, if you guys are feeling like it. Whatever you built for this. So yeah, we're playing Fusion XYZ here. What a curse combination. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.